I love this industry and I love selling. I love working with people. I love seeing how happy people are after they get a great product. And it helps me stay on my course, stay sober, and stay feeling fulfilled. Because there's so many other businesses out there where you're selling something, you're doing something that you don't really love, you're not really passionate about. And I have a passion for this. So I'm not saying that everyone is going to. A lot of people are like, this job sucks. I can't stand knocking on doors. I can't stand talking to these people. So, hey, it's not for you. There's something else. But I tell everyone that I work with that you have to do something you love. You have to get something that you get fulfillment out. I can go out at 6 a.m., come home at 9 a.m., and it feels like I was only working for an hour. To me, that's super important. It's everything. Not only are you making really good money, but you're enjoying the process and you're enjoying the work. So you're not really working at the end of the day.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by Rakowski Law Firm. If you're a business owner or have built a level of wealth, but you don't have your estate plan dialed in, you're exposed. Rakowski Law Firm helps families and business owners protect their assets, avoid probate, and make sure everything transfers exactly how it should. This isn't just paperwork, it's a real strategy to protect your legacy. If you haven't looked at your plan in a while or don't have one, go to rakowskilawfirm.com. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by Remington McDermott, who is the owner of RNS Roofing. And Remington is joining us from the beach today. It looks nice behind you there.
Yep.
Man, tell us how you got started. Tell us the story of the business and where it's at today.
So, kind of a crazy background, but I actually got into the roofing business because of my previous sales background. I've always been in commission sales. Since actually out of high school, I started in a tanning salon selling memberships and lotions, and just super, super hyper competitive. Could not stand being second, third, had to be first in everything. I had the highest per person average in the nation, actually at dark tan at the time. And basically anyone who came in front of me, I would sell them based off of their need and information. I was really big into explaining, hey, here's the product, here's why you need it, here's the good and the bad, but really product knowledge. And I've even implemented that into the roofing business today. Got into some legal trouble, it was a lot of legal trouble, and that kind of pinned me into the position where I couldn't get anything salary. I couldn't get any corporate jobs, and doing personal training, waiting tables, selling energy contracts. And my ex-wife at the time was like, hey, there's this industry that has huge commissions and everyone in it is a felon. Dude, that was the joke in the beginning of the industry, is you're not a roofer if you're not a felon. And then, dude, in the past like 3-4 years, it's become this like glamorous thing because us founders and us people who got down with our grind and just threw our hearts and souls into it found a lot of success. And now everyone's like, oh, I'm a roofer. It's the industry is just exploded, and it's just gotten completely wild. But back in the day, it was just a niche few people, like I said, mostly felons, people who wanted to restart their lives and find something to do. And that was just kind of the joke. So yeah, I got in a bunch of legal trouble, loved selling stuff, heard about this industry where, we could kind of go and restart our lives and make something of ourselves. And I went full steam, both feet in. But that being said, it is commission. So it's not glamorous, and it's not all the stuff that everyone's selling people. You're having people go out there telling people to quit their $200,000 a year salary job to become a roofer. And there's so much dishonesty in this industry. I would never in my wildest dreams tell a man who has a family to go out there and get into this, because just I was put into a box where I didn't have any other options to provide for myself. I didn't have those choices. And I'm not saying it's not glamorous and it's not great, but the beginning's tough, man. I mean, I struggled. My first probably 3-4 years in the industry, there was no training of any kind. We didn't have any systems in place at the company I was in. I didn't have shirts, hats. We didn't even really have a website. Our website was like made on Microsoft Paint. It was complete garbage. I mean, I was essentially selling myself door to door to homeowners, and really no one wants to knock on doors. So it's not all the things that people crack it up to be. It is only what you make of it. So, coming in the industry with all that being said, when I started my company, I really didn't want it to become what it has. I never imagined in my wildest dreams where everything's turned into. My team I have amazing guys, but I basically wanted to, be able to do my roofs, provide for my family, set up a company that honored their warranties, that honored quality workmanship, attention to detail, and all of those things. And really, taking care of your customers and going above and beyond to do not just the roof, but everything they want. Whenever we first started, we were roofing, and then people would love our projects we did. So they're like, well, can you do this? Can you do that? So over time, and I set it open-ended I didn't do it necessarily on purpose, but it was RNS Roofing and Construction. And I set it like that, so I don't want to put myself into a corner. So I want to be able to handle everything. And, it's trial and error. You learn the things as you go. And now we're to the point where we're doing full home remodels. We're doing new construction. We're doing everything under the sun, because anytime you say no to an opportunity, you're basically saying no to a potential income stream there.
Where's the company at today, Remington? Like, where are you guys at in overall sales or revenue?
So we are currently, as of now, we do about $1 million a month. I mean, give or take, where I've kind of, you have these companies that have really expanded and gone up, but I've kind of found this sweet spot where, all my guys are making good money. They're all taken care of. And at the end of the day, sure, I could bring up our gross sales higher, but, it's going to be even more money dumped into marketing, dumped into this. I'm going to have to pay even more full-time staff. And we've kind of gotten a sweet spot where everyone's reaching their maximum earning potential without, diving headfirst and taking all of the additional risks and overhead that it takes to take it to the next 20, 50 million mark.
This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team. What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by ExitWise. If you're a business owner thinking about selling your company, whether that's now or years down the road, you need to know what your business is actually worth and how to maximize that exit. That's exactly what ExitWise does. They help you prepare, position, and ultimately sell your business by assembling a world-class team of M&A experts around you, guiding you from valuation all the way through closing. If you want to know what your business is really worth and how to increase that number before you sell, go check out exitwise.com and get ahead of it. Remington, what's going really well in your business right now? What's a big challenge you guys are facing?
So It goes right back to that. It's always going to be personnel. It's the people. We're a people business.
Yeah.
Whether it are people inside the organization or it's the customers outside the organization. Everyone's talking about how, oh, the economy's great, everything's going wonderful, it's all sunshines and rainbows if you watch the news, but the reality on the streets is it is not. I mean, it's there are of course the few who are uh, succeeding, who are doing well financially, but the majority of the homeowners we're talking to, they're struggling. The insurance carriers, which was the bread and butter of our business, we've had a more lean a lot more towards retail, which of course is not twice, 100 times more competitive. You're honestly, it's kind of a race to the bottom in a sense, because you're having to give away as much as you possibly can to beat your competition while also bringing down your price. So it's a people thing.
Yeah.
People inside the organization, just like everyone, you know, everyone wants a handout. Everyone wants everything for free. Everyone wants to do the bare minimum to make it by. And that's when it's going to come to homeowners. Well, what corners can you cut to save me some money on this job? You know, how much money can I get back? For example, if it's an insurance claim. And then your people inside the organization, you know, you're dealing with a lot of the same thing. You know, what's the least that I can do to, you know, make my six figures every single year? And not a lot of people are willing to get their hands dirty and bust their ass. Like I said, I'm not saying that about everyone. I've got incredible people in my organization, but everyone kind of hit their cap where they are super comfortable. They work their storm, and they might work for 90 days, you know, make a couple $100,000, and then they're satisfied with that. It's really it's kind of a drive thing. So you kind of get into that bottleneck period with people, with everyone. And for me, of course, the way to break through that would be to spend the additional money and the marketing to hire additional people on salary, but you're just gonna hit that same thing. You're spending more to, at the end of the day, what am I taking home? And I feel like every business owner needs to really look at that. Like,
Yeah.
why are you sitting at home on the couch? Why are you doing these things? Your reps are leaving you because you're not in the field. You should personally be, I mean, I call myself an owner operator because I'm actually in the field. I'm actually out there hustling. I'm out there with my guys. I am on a trip now for my wife's birthday, but anyone in my company knows, like, this is probably my first time to leave my market in probably 5 years. I just don't do that because I've got to be there from sun up to sundown in the field hustling, because I'm the only person that I can control. I can't control other people. You know, I've learned that in my program. I'm my own responsibility. And if I'm putting all my eggs and all of my pressure on these people to perform, you know, it's going to set me up for a letdown. I'm going to feel like this is going on. Now, of course, I do that because I trust my guys. But at the end of the day, if I send out 5 jobs and I feel like these 5 jobs I can absolutely close, these are easy, these are cakewalks, these are all customer referrals. A lot of our business is word of mouth. And let's say they're late to the appointment, something happens. You know, that's on me for trusting that opportunity to someone else instead of actually going out there myself and doing it.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you're finally getting some much needed R&R. It looks good on you. It looks like you're having a good time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're having a blast. I mean, and I say that not to you know, down the people, but it's really it's self responsibility. And what I tell most owners is, you've got to get to the position where you have so many jobs incoming, and this is where I am, like, that you can't possibly be at all those places at once. Like, so
Yeah.
far today, for example, and I always use this example. I'm out here in Florida. I've gotten about, I mean, I had to put my phone on do not disturb. I've gotten probably about, I want to say 22 call-ins 22 people calling in for an inspection, for this, for that, for a warranty situation. And so, for example, in a day, if I have 22 people, that's physically impossible for me to get to. And that's where you have to set yourself up at in this industry. If you want all of the things that comes with that, you have to be able to handle it. Because everyone's like, you see in all the forums all the time, oh, the sports cars, the nice house, all those things. Well, that has taken years and years and years and years and years of every single day getting out there, busting your ass to the point where I've lost all of my hair because because of the stress that takes. And people see they only see the end result. They didn't see the process, and I'm all about the process and the
Yeah.
daily grind of getting to that next level and never reaching really a point of satisfaction. It's always the next goal. And of course, having to enjoy it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, oh, I'm miserable. I love what I do and I love this business. I love seeing guys go from nothing to getting their dream sports car and all those things that they can accomplish. That's what I enjoy now.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than seeing a guy going from waiting tables to making six figures, buying a new Corvette, a new truck, and all those things.
Yeah.
I love it.
Remington, you were talking about how Dallas is a challenging market, and you think that in many ways, business ownership has been glamorized by social media, but it hides a lot of the work and the stress behind the scenes. Do you want to touch on that a little bit more?
Well, at the end of the day, everything is always going to fall on the owner. So, for example, I've got about 25 project managers any given time. So, when you're a project manager, you're dealing with your customers. Ideally, project managers are dealing from, either running out leads, client acquisition, bringing on new customers, networking, finding all that. So they have their nice little bundle of customers. Then you've got senior project managers who oversee, help train, kind of help guide the newer guys. And then you have the owner at the top. Ideally, I'm not supposed to be dealing with the day to day. However, as I was mentioning, I'm very, very involved. So if there's a great customer, I never get to meet them. I'm only dealing with the shitty customers, the problem situations, the denials, the State Farm deals that, they should have approved the roof, they didn't. So if it's really rough, if it's just a total disaster, remember, I'm the one who's dealing with every single one of those throughout the day. So I don't get except the customers that I'm working personally, my customers are great. Here's your check, move on, boom, boom, boom. However, I'm dealing
Yeah.
with all the problem customers. That's the only people I get to deal with. So while a project manager might, have 15 customers, 20 customers at any given time, one or two of those are going to be bad eggs typically. Just someone who's impossible to please. There's that, and that's what we're running into. So, I've got to, I can't stand finishing off a project and not having the person happy, not having the person have a great experience. So I have to get involved in there, and I have to go through whatever it is I need to go through in order to make their experience great and get a good review, get good rapport and all that. So,
So
your
it sounds
project
like you're
manager,
getting sucked into a lot of customer service.
absolutely. I mean, that's the thing about this business that I tell everyone. We are not salesmen, we're consultants, and we are not selling anything. If you're in roofing and you're really selling, then you're not doing your job correctly. You really need to be educating the customer, you need to be explaining the process and bringing them in along the ride and really just servicing them in every way you can, making sure that
Yeah.
those hands off and that everything is going smoothly. So yeah, I'm absolutely, and I'm kind of the final level to it when it comes to like, oh, I want to speak to your manager. That's kind of where I end up getting
brought into there and trying to smooth things over, whatever that may be.
What is the majority of the breakdown of your guys' revenue? Is it primarily roofing? Is it construction? Is it, kind of 50-50? What's the breakdown of the overall revenue? I think you guys said you were around 12 million on the run rate.
Yep. Yeah, give or take usually, and that's on the roofing side. I try to keep all aspects separately because I've got the roofing, the construction. Like I said, anything. If someone wants us to plant bushes, we're going to be planting bushes. Whatever under the sun. But yeah, I would say about 95% of the guys' revenue is going to be roofing related. Of course, we have all the painting, all the renovations, remodeling, all that. Problem is margins there are a lot slimmer, and we haven't really gotten to the point where we can really upsell those things. That we're almost doing it as just an adding service. So we're doing the roof, we're making our money there. Then we're going in there, we're painting, we're doing trim work, we're doing fascia, whatever it may be, just to help secure the job so that it can be a one-stop shop so that homeowner's not having to go all these different places. So if we're doing a smaller margin, the guys they're going to get paid for it. But if we're not hitting like a 20-30% profit margin on something, then they're not necessarily going to be able to qualify for a 50% commission. And they know that. So they're making the majority of their money on the roofing aspect. And that being said, as I was talking about the insurance, really, as I was saying, the Dallas market sucks. There's so many people. What's been going on in the industry probably since 2020 is there's just been a mass inflow of just Billy Bob and Joe getting into the roofing space, getting into the roofing industry because the cat's out of the bag. It's something that used to be pretty easy, that it was everyone was waiving deductibles. It was this and that. It was easy, almost free money to an extent. So that being said, what's happened is when there's been this mass influx of people, the people are calling in claims. So you have the homeowner and the insurance company. And it used to be, we knew what we were doing. So we weren't calling in claims. We weren't initiating a claim unless there was adequate and sufficient storm-related damage at the property. And what's happened now is you have a neighborhood, whereas one or two people might have had actual damage called in a claim. Now you have thousands of roofers going around at all times, regardless of if there's a storm, just willy-nilly calling in claims on every single house. And in the industry, we call it throwing stuff against the wall, seeing if it sticks. So there's just been a giant influx of claims. So this is the first year. I mean, it's not the first year I've seen it. AAA and some of the carriers have been notorious for having 3% plus deductibles. But the carriers, they're done with it. They've dropped replacement cost value policies. Majority of people right now are having ACV, which is actual cash value, meaning they're only going to pay pennies on the dollar for the claim based on the age and depreciation of the roof. So if it's a new roof and it has major storm damage, not a big deal. They're not going to appreciate it much. But in the Houston market and some of these other markets where we don't get those 2-time-a-year gigantic hail damage claims, we're dealing with roofs that are 15, 20 years old. So that first check, when they take the deductible out of it, you're looking at maybe $1,500, $2,000 of insurance proceeds. The rest of it is going to be that $10,000, $18,000 deductible, and then the back end depreciation. So it's almost turning into a retail business where we're having to bid jobs and win based off of, really, as I was saying, really knowing the industry. You can't have some guy off the street working at 7-Eleven the day before coming in selling a retail job against someone like me or someone with a lot of experience.
Right. How are you acquiring most of your customers? Is it primarily door knocking, or are you guys doing anything with paid ads or other types of marketing?
Well, I'm very fortunate because I networked very heavily in the very beginning. So I have a very, very, very large network of realtors, property management companies, and a very loyal customer base that, you know, sends in, to me personally, I'm getting 5, 10 referrals almost every single day, and that being said, remember, let's just say I get 10 referrals in a day. These are 10 people who have got a roof leak, who've got a really old roof, who are trying to find some sort of a way to try to get it covered. So, being someone with integrity who isn't just going to go throw it against the wall, we're actually going out there, we're inspecting. So, out of those 10 referrals, only one might be an insurance claim. The rest of them are probably going to be retail. Like I said, those margins being super low. So, of course, door knocking is always going to be the bread and butter, but that's only relevant if we have a fresh storm, which, typically we're going to have 2, 3 times a year. And then we have kind of a week-long window there. So during that storm period,
Yeah.
yeah, we're hustling, we're knocking. And one of my favorite things to do when we're knocking on doors is we're not doing the knock knock. Oh yeah, we're working with some of your neighbors doing their roof. I mean, that is that is a dead system. We're really right now knocking. Hey, let us put our hat in the ring. We notice your roof has some age. We're not one of these big private equity companies who's paying millions and millions of dollars a year in ad spend. My name's Remington. Notice your roof's pretty old. But guess what? That money that we're not spending on Google ads and marketing, we're putting that back into, special things for your roof. That money is getting put back into our
Yeah.
customers' pockets and into the projects. We're offering
Yeah.
50-year warranties. We're offering high profile ridge, upgraded attic ventilation. We're always offering a much higher tier product than our competitors because we don't have all that crazy overhead that they're having. I mean, I'm seeing bids at $50,000-$60,000 for a 40 square roof. I mean, it's absolutely freaking wild. Whereas we can go in there and do that thing for an economy roof, 14,000, 16,000, or something super high end, closer to the 20 mark. So I mean, they're getting these bids, and they see ours, and they're like, "What's it? Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is." And they're like, "Well, I don't want you to lose money." I'm like, "We're not losing money. This is we're at 30% margin on this. These people are just at 150, 200%. Honestly, it's highway robbery, and I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I sold you a roof for that, sir." That's kind of been that's been the way that I explained it to the customers. But
Yeah.
yeah,
What do you feel
the
like is your
market.
biggest challenge right now, Remington?
Um, when it comes down to it, it's really the market saturation. I would say one of the that's probably one of the biggest things because there's only there's only so much that you can do in this industry to set yourself apart from your competition. There's the same manufacturers. Everyone has them. I mean, you have your GAFs, your Certainteeds, your Atlases, your IKOs, your Tamcos. So I mean, you have your specific brands that you're gonna be representing or repping. Each each roofing company, of course, is going to always lean in one direction. Um, a lot of the times it just comes down to price, price per square, price for materials, and what sort of rebates that manufacturer is offering said roofing company. So as the market gets more saturated, of course, as private equity gets involved, they're starting to buy a lot more stuff. When we're getting our retail bids in there, I straight up tell the homeowner, I'm like, hey, get 3, 4 other bids. Don't go with me. Get other bids, see what other people are offering, so you have something to compare to. And of course, you have to make sure it's apples to apples. You can't be comparing my UHCZ class 4 shingle with a certified 50-year system to a IKO camp bridge from some secondary store where bundles could be mismatched. If you're doing that, you're not gonna, you can't compare a Lamborghini to a Honda, and that's always the way that I explain to the customers. However, that being said, you're now having crews starting roofing companies. So you're having roofing crews actually start the companies. You're having sales reps start roofing companies, and a lot of these guys are, I mean, I don't know how they're getting and doing the numbers that they're doing. I was talking about how my prices are much lower. I'm seeing stuff out there for 220, 200 a square. So when we're bidding out, something for a realtor where the person's leaving the house, and of course, this is something that I always explain. Hey, if you're selling your house and you're buying a house and it says just got a new roof, that's always going to be a cause of concern, because there's a very good chance that new roof was second shingles, unmarked bags, just thrown together. I've seen some of just the roughest jobs I've ever seen on some of these houses that are for sale. So it's just been all of that, just the massive amounts of companies. And then as that happens, marketing gets more expensive. Price per appointment gets more expensive. Everything goes up, and it's almost been a race to the bottom. I mean, it really has been for the past probably the past 3 years, with the carriers, with the other companies, with everything. Also, I've noticed that product quality has gone down too, big time. You're not every year, the bigger this gets, the lighter the shingles are getting, the more defects you're seeing. And with the influx in the business, quality is actually, I've literally seen quality drop in the stuff that's coming out of the manufacturers. Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're trying to get that corner. I mean, for example, you had Tamco, who's just been notorious one of the nastiest shingles in the world. I mean, Tamco Heritage is just rough, man. The bundles, I mean, I've had bundles that are all just stuck together, come out like bricks. You have to peel them apart out of the pack. They just came out with their Titan XT, which they're now targeting the re-roofing crowd. And their price point for a class 3 on that Titan XT, supposedly it's a great shingle. I just have had such bad luck with the brand. It's kind of like when it comes to cars, you've got Jaguar, who's notorious for problems. Then they say, oh, well, we have this new car, but this thing's different. We're redoing everything. And it's just like, do I trust that or not? So you're having all these manufacturers, throw all these bells and whistles. Now they're having a hail guarantee shingle as well on top of that. So they're doing the same thing we're doing. They're marketing, they're saying all these different things to try to be competitive in the market. But at the same time, class 3 and class 4 used to mean something. Now, at least in my opinion, it almost seems like they've lowered the standards to make it's crazy. I feel like they've been greasing people's pockets and really almost pay to play to an extent. The manufacturers are lowering the standards for these class 3, class 4 products. And, then they're saying all this stuff to the roofing companies to sell it to us and to also corner the market as well. So you're having IKO, Malarkey, these up north shingles selling here in the Houston market where we're 102 degrees during summer. These shingles are made of rubberized polymer. I mean, the shingles are literally melting. If you're installing these above 95, your shingles are melting as you're installing them. I've gotten on the roof and you can see it dripping. And then you're in the roofing forums and everyone's like, oh, we're doing all these roofs there. I'm like, And I know how hot it is outside. I'm like, wait, are you telling me that you installed a malarkey shingle during summer in Houston, and you're proud of that? Because they have no idea. I'm telling you, it's crazy. You have a roofing owner who has been in the industry for 6 months, and he has no clue anything about anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
wild. They're telling
Yeah.
they're just blowing smoke everywhere they go. I mean, I'm seeing people. I don't want to mention names, but I definitely am a lot about it on my Facebook page. But they're like doing educational videos explaining stuff and talking about different things, and everything they're saying is wrong. Like
Yeah.
it's actually comical. And I mean, I've been calling it out. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, what? Like this one guy, you have actual hip and ridge shingles where they're high profile, which is, a major upsell. And this guy is telling the homeowner that the roofer cheated them because he put ridge on top of ridge, which is something you can do with field shingles. Even if you were to do a roof, the ridge is the last thing that goes on there. You can't put ridge over your old ridge because you can't change out the field shingles without changing the ridge. So I mean, and it just shows that this person was only ever using 3-tab. Like he doesn't even know what high profile ridge is. I mean, we're talking like some of the most basic things are completely beyond these roofing company gurus and owners, to where it's like whatever industry you're in. If you saw someone, you've been in it for a long time, someone just pokes in and just starts just talking out their butt, just saying the most wild things, and you're just like, oh man, what is happening? And it's painful.
Yeah. Yeah. Remington, I've been seeing a lot of roofers implementing AI into their businesses and also using overseas staffing like virtual assistants. How are you guys implementing those two types of tools in your business?
So when it comes to AI, the AI factor, I mean, really you have to be, I always say this, you have to be doing the numbers, you have to have the customer inflows, you have to have the appointments coming in. Because if you're just, this is where it gets crazy. If you're just, a company, it's you and a couple of guys, you don't have anything for the AI to do. So you can't have
Right.
AI doing any sort of data analytics or this and that if you're only doing one roof a week, 2 roofs a month. And this is what I tell everyone in the industry, because you're having all these people. Oh, I'm going to start a roofing company, and I need to know my data, and I need to know this and that, and I need to know a per cost. You don't have any data to work with, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Like there's no data because you're doing 2 roofs a month. You have 2 customers. What are you talking about? So, and then those 2 customers you got by, making a post on Nextdoor, or, going and knocking on doors. So if you're not having inflow from, for instance, you're not doing a boatload of marketing. Well, I don't even know the terms, what KPI or whatever, like all those different analytics and stuff that AI really does. AI does well when it has a lot of data to work with. So if you don't have a lot of data to
Yeah.
work with, then you don't really have anything to feed into the AI. Now, or for instance, let's just say it's follow-ups or some sort of an AI calendar thing. Hey, you have an appointment here. Hey, you have this and this. If you're not busy enough, then you don't necessarily have that implementation. So at the high level, with these companies who are, really, you're having a $20,000-$50,000 marketing expense with Facebook marketing, different things like this. That is where, to me, I believe that would really, really do well. Or even AI that is doing your marketing for you, to where you can cut out these middlemen, these ad agencies who are having these, $5,000 a month, whatever it is, management fees. So if you could have AI out
Yeah.
there doing it for you, running all your ads, figuring out which ads doing well based on those number crunching, because then you finally have data. Okay, 6,000 people have seen this. So many people clicked on it. So many people watched it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever that number is. That's where I believe the AI can come into this industry, and more marketing versus actual roofing, because you don't want to have, and this is where it gets stupid. You don't want to have, for example, the call centers. You can tell when someone answers the phone, because remember I said retail job, 5 bids. You're going to have Mr. Bob Thomas call 5 roofing companies. If 3 of those people answer, "Hello, this is RS Roofing," dude, you're cooked, because those homeowners, whoever, and this is what's important in my business, whoever answers that phone needs to know their shit, because the customers are going to ask stuff like that. When someone calls, I do have a bunch of people answer my phone, but they're my senior project managers. But whenever I answer the phone and someone says they have a leak, I can 90% of the time, 99% of the time, tell them where the leak is coming from on their house before I even go there, because I know the industry. Someone in Bangladesh, or even just a call center person who's here in America, they're not gonna be able to secure that appointment with that customer, or even sell the repair job on the phone, because a lot of times on a repair job we're only making $200, so it's not even worth going out to the house and getting in the attic, sweating your butt off, versus, hey, sell the job on the phone during the initial call, and then send your repair crew out there and call it a freaking day. Like, don't. Yeah. It's one of those things where really AI with marketing, AI with all those things is really where that's going to shine in this industry, or going into or another thing, once again, back to marketing, going into your customer database, sending emails out, hey, thank you for using us in the past, following up, making sure everything's going good. Making sure everything's going good. Sorry about that.
Remington, what's one thing we haven't talked about today that gets you fired up?
Man, I love this industry, because it's you have unlimited earning potential, and it's really all on your back. And I've done pretty much every kind of sales. In roofing, you have inside sales, you have outside sales. Like I said, that's one thing with AI. Like, go through someone's QuickBooks. You've got 6,000, 10,000 customers in there, active customers, that you can send follow-up blast emails on to say, hey, just checking in. Is everything good on your roof right now? Because your customers are your biggest asset. And I tell this to every single one of my reps. Your customers are your biggest assets. They're the ones who are going to spread the word. I've got customers who have been out at restaurants, and they hear someone at another table mention roofing, and they're like, hey, I got the best guy you need to reach out to. I mean, that's happened time and time again. This industry is a snowball effect, and it's absolutely changed my life. It's given me something to do every single day. It's given me purpose. And as someone who, is an ex-addict who did go down all the paths that I did, it's given me community, and it's given me, the life that I have today, without having to go out there and, do bad things. I'm able to do good things. I'm able to talk to young guys, help them find, whatever it is, if it's this industry, if it's not, but being able to give people a life-changing opportunity, and, help guide them and mold them. And, eventually, if they want to start their own business, and, they want to have that talk with me, hey, I'm more than happy to help. It's it's something great because it's not something, you're not selling something people don't need. And that's really what it always comes down to. Whenever I'm talking to homeowners, like, they have to have this service. They don't, if their roof's 30 years old and it's falling apart and squirrels are eating their pipe jacks, like, they can't just not do it unless their house is going to cave in and they just don't really care at all. So we're an essential business. It's something that everyone has to have. It's just like HVAC in Houston. It's just like plumbing. It's never going away. The AI thing, AI is going to take so many people's jobs. AI is not going to be getting on people's roofs and, and doing roofing jobs. So we are, and during COVID, during a disaster, we had a big storms, we were an essential business. So we were able to actually go out there and work. So it's just something that isn't going to get replaced anytime soon. Now, there's different parts in the industry that can be fixed and replaced, but if you're doing what you're supposed to do and you are doing right by people, you're not going to go anywhere. And as long as you're as long as you're not out there acting a fool, you shouldn't be getting sued. You shouldn't be having these issues. Now, of course, you've got to be tough. You've got to be strong because you'll run into people. I mean, you'll just run it, and that's one of the things too. As the owner, you're gonna have people who you're gonna do a job. It's gonna be perfect. Everything's great, and then they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, we decided we're not gonna pay you today." And this shit's happened, and we're talking like $20,000-$30,000. So I mean, going back to that owner versus sales rep thing, the sales rep didn't have to pay the $20,000 out of their pocket to pay for the labor, the materials, the gutters, whatever else she did. So they're completely insulated on that. And as someone who's not a total piece of shit, I'm not going to take their commissions from their other jobs to pay for my losses on that. That's just part of the business. There's always risks in anything you're doing. So but that's part of the business. I mean, that's what we're dealing with, and at the end of the day, that's that extra workload that I was talking about. That someone like me, I need that. I need the constant. My wife says I'm addicted to drama, but I need that. I need to be constantly overstimulated, to be almost overwhelmed with work and stuff, so that when I'm not out there in the field absolutely losing my mind, I'm at the house taking care of the kid and doing these things. But for someone like me who is an addict, I need that. And that's what I love about this industry, because you can completely immerse yourself. And when you're sitting at a desk, auto dialing, which is something I've done before, you're staring at the clock and it's almost like the minute hand's moving backwards. Like you're just dragging. But I love this industry, and I love selling. I love working with people. I love seeing how happy people are after they get a great product, and that it helps me stay on my course, stay sober, and stay feeling fulfilled. Because there's so many other businesses out there where you're selling something, you're doing something that you don't really love, you're not really passionate about. And I have a passion for this. So I'm not saying that everyone is going to. A lot of people are like, this job sucks. I can't stand knocking on doors. I can't stand talking to these people. So, hey, it's not for you. There's something else. But I tell everyone that I work with that you have to do something you love. You have to get something that you get fulfillment out. I can go out at 6 a.m., come home at 9 a.m., and it feels like I was only working for an hour. And that's, to me, that's super important. It's everything. Not only are you making really good money, but you're enjoying the process, and you're enjoying the work. So you're not really working at the end of the day.
Yeah. Remington, where can people find out more about who you are and what you do? Where can they learn more about your business?
Well, I'm currently, I actually train a lot of people who want to start a roofing company. That's one of the things that I also do on the side. And I've done it for a lot of people for completely free, just because I'm so passionate about this industry. Um, I would say 90% of those people have gone to be extremely successful. I don't want to, I'm not going to name any names, but also from my organization, there's been people who have left who have started super successful companies. There's also people who have left who have, stolen, done shady things, and they've completely crashed and burned. But yeah, reach out on Instagram. RS Roofers is our Instagram account, and my personal Facebook page. I'm always on there, as I was mentioning, making funny comments and stuff. And then, my business, RNS Roofing. We are in Corpus, we're in Austin, we're in Dallas, our headquarters is in Houston. Reach out to us on there. If you have any roofing issues, or, if you're looking to get into the industry and get with a company that actually tells you what to do, gives you training, gives you guidance, isn't just doing what they did to me and sending you out there blindly, to go fail over and over again until you finally figure it out by some act of God.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And guys, go check out what Remington's up to. He's actually doing some coaching, as he mentioned. He'll help you get started if you're interested in getting started in the home service roofing space. And Remington, can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.